So here we are. It's Shabbat, a time of rest and renewal, a time of focus on human being instead of human doing, a time to take a break and a breath, a time to escape into a day that's different from the rest of the week, a time to focus on faith and family and peace and God. And for so many, this feels impossible right now. Instead, so many are racked with worry and concern. We know around the globe there are many suffering with physical illness, even fighting for their lives. On TV, our computers, our smartphones, at the water cooler, in the hallways, in our homes, we are hypothesizing and planning and wondering what will be in this pandemic. The store shelves are bare of cleaning supplies and toilet paper as we sit with the not knowing and the fear that creeps into the cracks where normalcy and routine, surety and comfort once lived. This deep discomfort with the unknown is not unique to us in our time. In this week's Torah portion, Ki Tisa, we read about the ancient Israelites awaiting Moses' return from Mount Sinai. The text tells us that Moses was gone for a long time, and that the people gather against Aaron and plead, "Make us a God who will go before us. For that fellow Moses, the leader who brought us from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has happened to him." Aaron directs the people to take off their gold earrings, and he makes them into a molten calf. The people exclaim, "This is your God, O Israel." And early the next day, the people offer up sacrifices and sit down to eat and drink and rejoice. The ancient Israelites commit the great sin of idolatry out of fear and uncertainty. We can imagine what it might have felt like for the people waiting for their leader to return, wanting clear direction, information, and reassurance. We can imagine the feelings of wondering and not knowing and worrying what will be. And we can imagine people jumping to take action, to do something, to create something in the absence of order and normalcy, yearning for comfort and reassurance. While I haven't recently heard about any golden calves being created, we have all seen the store shelves bare of toilet paper, bottled water, and hand sanitizer as people attempt to assuage the fear that they don't have what they need to stay healthy or will run out of supplies. I have seen with my own eyes someone stash bottles of hand sanitizer behind the matzah boxes in the Passover aisle, hoping no one else will find it so that she can then come back and purchase it in a second transaction so as not to violate the limited quantity rule. The mayor's office has asked clergy to remind the community this Shabbat that city water is safe to drink, stores will be restocking food and supplies, and that hoarding only increases panic at a time that demands calm vigilance to the directives of the medical authorities and elected officials. Our limited ability to exist in a climate of uncertainty is manifest in the anxiety we feel as a community. A new term that we have seen in emails and news reports and articles about combating and protecting ourselves and our community from COVID-19 is social distancing. It is defined as reducing human social interaction, an effort to prevent the spread of infectious disease. Without question, this practice is about limiting our physical contact with others. Just this week, Rav Yosef of B'nai David Judea Congregation in California wrote, "I'm humbly suggesting, though, that we use this term sparingly, if at all. Language is a powerful shaper of thinking, and the very last thing we need right now is a mindset of mutual distancing. We actually need to be thinking in the exact opposite way. Every hand we don't shake must become a phone call that we place. Every embrace that we avoid must become a verbal expression of warmth and concern. Every inch and every foot that we physically place between ourselves and another must become a thought as to how we might help others should the need arise. It is obvious that distancing, if misplaced or misunderstood, will take its toll not only upon our community's strength and resiliency, but upon the very integrity and meaning of our spiritual commitment. The reality of the coronavirus pandemic challenges us to draw one another closer in a way that we've never done before. It implores us to use technology that so often distances us to connect us and to assure that we are not alone as we physically isolate. As we are called upon to physically distance from one another, let us socially connect more intentionally. Let us remain committed to enriching the lives of others through gestures of warmth and compassion. May we call more, text more, write letters and send cards. We can funnel the angst of isolation into the creation of something new, a new craft project, organize a photo album, or create one online. Bake something delicious, cook up a big pot of comfort food and leave a quart of it on an elderly neighbor's porch for pickup. We can get groceries for someone who cannot leave the house or offer to place an order for them online if they don't yet know how. We can take a walk and move our bodies, observe the buds on the trees, become newly acquainted with the sounds of the birds nearby. We can smile and wave kindly at those we see in the window and walking by. When we are on the other side of this pandemic, I pray the lingering effects of these days will be greater love and connection, cultivated by the compassion and care we give and receive in these days. In closing, I share with you a prayer for pandemic by an unknown source. May we who are merely inconvenienced remember those whose lives are at stake. May we who have no risk factors remember those most vulnerable. May we who have the luxury of working from home remember those who must choose between preserving their health and making their next rent. May we who have the flexibility to care for our children when their schools are closed remember those who have no options. May we who have to cancel our trips remember that some have no place to go. May we who are losing our margin money in the tumult of the economic market remember those who have no margin at all. May we who settle in for a quarantine at home remember those who have no home. As fear grips our country, let us choose love. During this time when we cannot physically wrap our arms around one another, let us yet find ways to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbors. Amen.